Welcome to the final episode on our AENEID series. Hope you guys enjoyed all the other episodes. See you guys then. Virgil's The Aeneid, translated by Robert Fowles. This is basically the story of Aeneas, a guy who was dropped by Aphrodite, aka Venus. God, this is more confusing than those Percy Jackson books. Anyways, back to the story. Aeneas, who was dropped by his mother, Venus, for some reason, because, she had a spear shot into her wrist. Isn't that a good reason to drop your son and go to your healing person? I don't think so. You should... Well, Aphrodite's soft, so I wouldn't blame her. And then Aeneas, after finding the destruction of his home Troy, decides to go flee with a few refugees after trying to kill a few people, a few Greeks, and goes on a quick quest. His father suggests to go to Crete because it was said that they need to go back to their land of the ancestors. Turns out this wasn't the land of the ancestors, at least not the correct ancestor. And they were told to go to Italy, which is basically Latinus, which is basically the place and the kingdom which houses the kingdom of the Latins. And then they arrive, eat some pizza. At least it's not pizza, it's like toppings on bread, so I guess it's basically pizza. No sauce, no cheese, but toppings on bread, so forget it. A lot of jokes here. And also, for some reason, the god sent a dream to Latinus saying, "Hey, no, none of the suitors are there for you. Another suitor will come, and he is a foreigner. Now go let your daughter marry that foreigner." And when he wakes up, and a few days later, finds Aeneas on his shore, and finds out that he's a foreigner, and technically not one of the suitors, but sure. And he decides that Aeneas is the perfect foreigner to marry his daughter. However, the lead suitor, at least not suitor anymore, they don't have a chance anymore, Turnus, decides that, hey, I hate this. And Juno hates this prophecy because it is said that the empire that Aeneas's descendants will create, which is created by Romulus and Remus, will also destroy her favorite city of Carthage, which for some reason she nourished, and hey, battle ready, you'll be able to kick the butt of those Romans later. Italians, Latinus. My God, why do they have street names? Another time, and she sends down Electo. If this was Pokemon, I would have remembered her saying hey, take a Pokemon ball, check its Electo, sends Electo down, and says this, hey, put rage in Turnus, and make sure that Lavinia, which is basically Latinus' daughter, there are a lot of suitors outside and trying to marry her. Lavinia's mother does not like Aeneas, and Lavinia's mother's like, maybe I shouldn't let my daughter marry someone who she literally just met a few moments ago and is a foreigner and not from Latin. And, that really happens. And I guess eventually there will be a rage. And then Alecto goes to Turnus and fills him with rage. And he's like, hey, suddenly I have a feeling of rage that I need to kill the person who just stole my girlfriend. I don't think she's your girlfriend. She's your girlfriend yet, Turnus, but sure, whatever you do, I support it. Because it's part of Virgil's story anyway. Okay. And they go through a whole war, and then finally they get the duel, and because of Vulcan's new extraterrestrial shield, every spear that gets shot into here doesn't leave a mark. And by the way, the shield itself has drawings of the future, like Augustus defeating those other people and his rebellions, and becoming the new Caesar. Basically, the new Julius Caesar. Finally, after 3 lines, literally 3 lines after the death of Turnus, the book itself ends. Although the Aeneid is incomplete, Virgil wanted to have 3 more years to actually complete writing the Aeneid, but then he lost time because even after a decade of writing, he still wasn't completed the Aeneid. Obviously, if this was translated, if we were reading the Latin version, then we will notice that some of the hexameter poems are still not in tune. Some of them are missing their beat, and others are a little crooked, that needs a little rigidness. And ending a poem 3 lines after the antagonist dies is like a criminal law. If the book police from the 13-story treehouse existed, they would definitely arrest Virgil. But then again, Virgil's already dead, so arrest the tomb or something? Arrest his ghost? Arrest his skeleton? I should probably stop doing this fanfiction stuff. And that's basically the whole summary. Now for the analysis. We all know that Virgil literally hates Augustus. We all know why, because Augustus literally stole Virgil's land so that he can use them as rewards for his little soldiers who fought for him in the rebellion. Hey, I'll take all these nobles' land and give them to my warriors because those warriors deserve it more than those nobles who did absolutely nothing during the war. And obviously he would hate it. And Virgil was commissioned by Augustus to actually write the Aeneid, which was supposed to be a biography of Augustus, I guess, but then again, he decided to actually write the origins of Rome, and the main character would mirror and mimic Augustus. But since Virgil does not like Augustus that much, he would try to criticize him, of course. But it's a war story. How can he criticize an emperor who's basically not a character yet, who doesn't exist yet? At least, not in real life. Well, that's basically what he does. And he makes sure that his main character, Aeneas, is describing Augustus in every way possible. It is described that Aeneas is perfect hair, perfect eye color, perfect eyebrows, perfect body odor, perfect hands, perfect skin color. At least that's what mattered back then, at least. And perfect eyesight, perfect hearing, and perfect mouth breath. Mouth breath? Mouth breath? So basically, we all know that Aeneas has flaws, and those flaws is something Augustus really hates. He probably doesn't know he has those flaws, but if he knew that he had those, he would really get angry and try to get rid of those flaws. So basically, Virgil writing Aeneas with his flaws are saying that Augustus has these flaws and that Augustus is a terrible person. Because to be honest, Aeneas is also a terrible person. He cannot really balance mercy and killing for revenge. So, revenge is always something more. And Augustus, I guess he also does a little bit more revenge. I mean, look at a lot of history books, or go to the Blue on OSP. I actually highly recommend Overly Sarcastic Productions here for this one. So, go read The Life of Virgil in the Overly Sarcastic Productions, and you probably know what I mean. And try to look at that. So basically, when Virgil died, he wanted the manuscript to be burned. We don't know why, probably because he didn't want to get caught by Augustus. I mean, he only read a few of the books in the book itself, in the great epic itself, that he was sure that Augustus would really like. And the other books that he didn't read to him was probably books that Augustus, okay, these guys are so similar, I'm confusing their names here. Well, anyways, Augustus would definitely hate, because he would realize eventually that this guy, Virgil, the guy who commissioned to write the epic piece, is actually criticizing him. And basically, Augustus was tricked into publishing a book, and he made sure that there were as few edits as possible, and publishing a book that would be able to criticize him for eons to come. And it would possibly criticize him for more eons, because it still survived for 1,000 years. It will criticize that emperor forever. Virgil will definitely hate this guy, and the book makes sure of that, because Aeneas is a swell guy, but he's also a terrible guy at the same time. And yeah. What do you guys think about the Aeneid? I mean, why do we want to read the Aeneid? I mean, the Romans aren't known for their writing. Although that's a shame, I would certainly understand why. I mean, when you try to go great in empire, then would you really have time to write books? But then, if they wanted to be really memorable, they needed to start writing down some stuff. And so Virgil wrote down this and his other poems, and then the other Roman writers even started writing their own stories. I mean, sure, Virgil isn't the first one to actually use Homer's poetic style, like hexameter style in Latin. He wasn't the first one to do it, but he was technically the best. He could arguably the best. Even though the Aeneid isn't finished, it's still a great masterpiece. I read the whole book, every word, and it's awesome. So, now, what do you do? What do you think you should do? In my opinion, my recommendation is go read the Aeneid. I highly recommend Robert Fraggle's translation. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you guys did enjoy this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and not be this cat. Actually, try to be as beautiful as this cat here. I hope to see you guys in the next episode of Han Shun Shun, and I'll see you guys soon. Schnan out. Peace.